I'm Monica Ramirez Lopez. I work as a Youth and Engagement Officer at the Devil's Porridge Museum.
Hi, I'm Owen, a youth and community volunteer at the Devil's Porridge.
What's on offer for young people at the museum?
So we have school visits. We welcome young people from primary school. We also have sometimes the nursery coming here, academies, high school, college, students from master degree. We organize tours and activities. We split them in groups and take them around the museum with a speed dating format. What we want is for them to enjoy the experience. Besides the school visits, we have clubs. We have, for example, the gardening club. We're starting a Warhammer activity, and if it is successful, we are going to turn it into a club. We have plans to start a youth club soon as well. And for holidays, we offer activities like mocktail classes, heritage workshops, cooking classes like vintage cooking, and podcast workshops. Regarding the volunteering opportunities that we have with young people, we help them to earn the Duke of Edinburgh and the Saltire Awards.
I first got involved with the Devil's Porridge because of my sister. She volunteers there, and after hearing how much she enjoys it, I thought it might be nice to give it a try. The museum's been in my town for as long as I can remember, and I've always had an interest in the history of where I live. Being able to help give back to the community and expand my skills, I felt was a worthwhile experience.
How do you engage young people in heritage?
We first survey what young people like, and we try to link it to heritage programs. We do this talking, for example, to the Dumfries and Galloway and our own youth council. They brainstorm the activities, and even when the curator and I have a project, it will have to pass through the youth council for them to have their say. We have a young trustee, and last year we had a young curator in our climate change exhibition. We also ask them to get involved in co-creating the program that they are going to develop. For example, we have now a munition worker hologram in the museum. And for this, we first made a casting because they will be the face of the hologram. Then we organized a workshop displaying objects from the munition workers. They had to write a script. And finally, we just made the production. And as part of this, we had a young volunteer who wants to be in the filming industry.
So from the conception of the initial idea into casting it, scripting it, acting in it, and filming it, that was all you've led?
Yes.
In an exhibition that now sits in the actual museum?
Yes.
That's fantastic.
And we have a new project for this year, which is related to fast fashion, in which we want to include activities that young people like modeling, 1940s, hair and makeup, and upcycling clothes, to also awareness about climate change and how history has affected the planet. This will be showcased in the museum in an exhibition this year.
What do young people gain from their time at the Devil's Porridge?
They get the skills to build their career. They grow in self-confidence. They face challenges. We had a volunteer who became one of the young trustees, for example, and she faced the fear to speak in public to trustees. Later on, it was not a challenge anymore. It was something exciting for her.
In terms of what experience I've gained here, it's given me a more open-minded view of what a wider group of people want and need in a community. It's been an interesting challenge to accommodate and think of the new things that might help people come together in the museum.
Have you encountered any other barriers whilst volunteering here?
Understanding other generations around me, trying to connect with those both younger and older than me, seeing what their interests are and trying to encourage them to come to the museum and, just bond as people.
Finally, what are your hopes for the future?
To keep working alongside young people to make every project and every activity according to what they want.
I'm hoping to take what I learn here and bring it with me to expand my skills in educational fields. I'll be hosting a club for the Warhammer 40,000 miniature board game, and this will be the first time I get to run an event for a hobby that I love and introduce it to new people. It's almost freeing to have that kind of responsibility again. So far, the experience has been really fun